Classics book haul. G'day to all you lovely people. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Kathy, and today is going to be all about the classic books that I bought in the last few months. Everything I bought since my last book haul. Now perhaps some of these aren't strictly speaking classics, nonetheless I'm going to refer to them as classics. Also, just like I have before, I'm going to ask you guys to have a guess how many books you think I have here. And at the end I will give you the exact number. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to begin with paperbacks. I was at my local bookshop, QBD bookshop, and I noticed that they had these classics available for a very cheap price. I think it was 3 for $15, which I thought was a steal. They're published by Wilco. I don't know this company, but I think they're gorgeous for $5 each. What a bargain. And even though I have Jules Verne in a large collection, I find I prefer these smaller ones because they're much easier to hold and to read. So I bought Journey to the Center of the Earth, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, 5 Weeks in a Balloon. I had also bought Around the World in 80 Days last year in the same edition, I guess. And the other ones I bought were Aesop's Fables. I always thought I had this and I don't. It's only a little one, and of course I don't think it's got any images, which is a pity because I think I would like to get one that has, some artwork as well. And I bought 3 Shakespeare plays. Again, I have Shakespeare's complete works in a very thick and cumbersome book, so I like the idea of having some of my favourites in little books like this. So I bought Hamlet, King Lear, and Macbeth, which is my favourite of all of Shakespeare's. But they're tiny. Again, $5. What a bargain, if you ask me. The next lot of books I bought from Booktopia, which is an online bookstore in Australia. I really like these classics. They are, again, black, because I do like black for classics, and they are much more reasonably priced than the Penguin classics, for example. They're usually around $17, $18, whereas most of these didn't cost me more than $8, which is crazy. I think so anyway. And I did buy quite a few. I'm going to start with this by Mary Shelley, The Last Man. I loved Frankenstein so much that I wanted to read more of her works. I think this is one of the few that I have found published in a book, and I just love these covers. I think they're fantastic. I also bought The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. I have never read this, though I do know the story. The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. I don't know if I've read this. I might have read it when I was very young, but I don't recall it very well. Though I've seen so many film adaptations, I feel I do know this story. I also bought 20 Years After, again by Dumas. This is the sequel, I believe, to The Three Musketeers. And I bought The Man in the Iron Mask, again by Dumas. I have not read much of him, so I'd like to read some of these books. Even though I feel I do know these stories so well because I've seen so many film adaptations of them. I also bought Middlemarch by George Eliot. I bought Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. My understanding is Heart of Darkness is the book that Apocalypse Now has been inspired by or based on. I'd like to read it actually. And of course there's other stories as well. Then I bought Dangerous Liaisons. I loved the original film so much that I really wanted to read the book. I suspect it's going to be really good. As for the author's name, I don't know if I'm going to try to pronounce it. It is Chodelo de Laclos. I'm sure I got that wrong. I might have forgotten to mention, these are all Wordsworth classics. I really like them. They're black, I like the spines, and they're very reasonably priced. And the last three that I have that are Wordsworth classics are by Dostoevsky. Crime and Punishment, which I've already read. The Karamazov Brothers, which is really thick. I've seen the film that this is based on with Yul Brynner, but it was many years ago, so I'm looking forward to reading this at some point. And the last is The Idiot. Now I'm going to move on to hardcovers. I'm going to start with these. I think these are called Flame Tree Classics. They're tiny. I bought these online, and I'll be honest, if I had known how small they were, I wouldn't have bought them. The text too is really small, really hard to read, but I can't deny they're absolutely gorgeous, aren't they? I think so anyway. Just stunning. Still, doesn't make up for the fact that these are too small, I think. I bought 3. This one is The Scarlet Pimpernel. I've always loved that book, by Baroness Orczy. I also bought Anne of Green Gables by L. Montgomery. And The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. I don't know how I'm going to read this because seriously, the text is ridiculously small. I think I need a magnifying glass to read it. So yeah, they're just going to be decoration, which is such a shame. I recently reread 1984 and I've been wanting to reread Brave New World, which I only own in paperback. And I saw this recently online. I think I bought it from Amazon. It's beautiful. I think so anyway. So I'll be reading this at some point in the near future. I also bought this, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. It also has other stories with it. This is a leather flexi bound. I have 2 others and I really like them. I didn't initially, but they are really easy to read and I think they're quite beautiful. So at least now I have 3 that match. Quite beautiful, isn't it? I think so. They are really nice actually, and very nice to hold. Maybe because they're partly leather. I've been wanting this one for a while and I decided to get it in a Penguin cloth-bound classic. This is Paradise Lost by John Milton. Much thicker than I realised actually. Quite a beautiful cover, isn't it? Yeah. And I can't find my copy of this, which is why I decided to get it in hardcover because it was, I think, reduced to half price. And that is Sun Tzu's Art of War. Isn't it gorgeous? I think so. Look at that. Just stunning. I have read this many years ago as well, so I anticipate I might read it in the near future, but who knows when. Now I need to go and get more books because I've run out of room. I'm still surrounded by books. Wow, yeah. This is a much larger haul than I realised actually. It's funny when you get them individually or say a couple, you don't think it's that many. But put them all together and you realise, wow, yeah, I definitely went overboard yet again. The next 2 books I'm going to show you are both second-hand books. This edition came out at least, I think, 20 years ago. And I already own one, which is a collection of Bronte sisters' books. So I like the idea of matching them. My Edgar Allan Poe hardcover complete collection has vanished. I don't know where it is. We've looked everywhere. I don't recall if I lent it to someone or what happened to her. So I bought another Edgar Allan Poe from my local bookshop in a hardcover, and unfortunately it didn't have all of his works in it. So I was hunting for what to get, whether to get a new one, when I saw this and I thought, well, it matches my others. I really like the look of these. So I bought it. And that is this. It's beautiful. It has gold edging. And I love the spines. They look really nice on the shelf. They're not too heavy either. I'm fairly certain they're not leather. Doesn't matter. They're just really beautiful copies. So now I finally have the complete Poe, because I love Edgar Allan Poe. He's one of my favourite authors. And since I was getting 2, I thought I'd get 3. This is Robert Louis Stevenson. I'm not sure though if it is his complete works, but it matches the others, again with the lovely spine and the gold. I never realised actually that I already had Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I forgot. Yeah, that's the problem when you have too many books. But now that I've catalogued them all, I won't be making that mistake as much. But I think this one has some books which I don't own. There is also a complete Oscar Wilde, I think, in this edition. So I think I might be buying that in the future. Then I'll have 4. Next is 2 Wordsworth Classics editions. I think they're cloth-bound ones with gilt lettering. And the first is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I honestly could not read the other one even if I tried, and I kind of like the look of these. These are just gorgeous. They have lovely spines. The back is really nice as well. They're just too cute. So I'm considering getting a few more in this edition because they're just lovely. And the text is much, much, much easier to read on this. It's been many years since I've read Anne of Green Gables, so I'm looking forward to rereading it at some point. And the other Wordsworth cloth edition that I bought is this, The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. I don't think I have ever read this, so I'm looking forward to reading this at some point in the future. But it's just so cute. I honestly think these are adorable. They're not very expensive either. I think I paid like $15 or so for each one. Bargain. And sticking with children's books, I guess, is something I only recently got. I read this series when I was a child and it was one of my absolute favourites. I loved it. And I have all these books in a large kind of illustrated edition, which is quite big and bulky. Makes it a bit harder though to read the actual books themselves, and there are 7 altogether. And that is the Narnia series. I bought a box set. This is the box that I got with them, which is so cute. I think so. They all sit within here. And the books themselves, when I opened this up and saw them, it just took me back to being a teenager again, because I think these are the exact same covers that I had read when I was a child. So the first is The Magician's Nephew. And these are actually not in publication order. These are in chronological order. And each book is numbered up the top. But just beautiful. Isn't it gorgeous? I love them. Second is The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. I just remember how much I loved this book as a child. And I haven't read it since because I'm a little worried it may not stand up to the test of time. But I'm going to be rereading it very soon, most likely next month. And again, just gorgeous with the number up the top. Number 3 is The Horse and His Boy. Much darker cover, but oh, just gorgeous. I think so. Prince Caspian. Beautiful. Just so beautiful. The Voyage of the Dawn Trader. Too cute. The Silver Chair. Honestly, I just can't get over how much I love these covers. I'm sure it's nostalgic though. Still, they're just gorgeous if you ask me. And the last book in the series is The Last Battle. This is the exact same cover. I remember this distinctly. I need to move some books again, so give me a minute. Okay, we're on the last stretch. Though there are still a few books here. Now, I have already hauled a few other books in this edition. They are called the Chiltern Classics, which are just stunning. Everyone who sees them wants them. My carers have been falling in love with them and going and buying them as well. That's how much people are loving them. And I don't blame them. The Chiltern Classics are a little bit smaller than paperbacks, but not as small as the other ones I was showing you. They have the gold, which is stunning, and they have ribbons for bookmarks. And they are adorable, just gorgeous. This is Animal Farm. I have 1984 in a Chiltern Classic, and I thought I'll get Animal Farm as well so they can match, but just lovely. And this is not the nicest one, I must admit. Jane Eyre. Look at it, so beautiful, just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Lovely spines as well, again with the gold and the ribbon, but just stunning. I have seen these online and the prices fluctuate. They can be really expensive, but I bought all of these from QVD, my local bookshop, and they are 2 for $30, which I think is a steal for hardcovers and beautiful ones like this. I also got The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. I have no idea how to pronounce that, by Anne Bronte, which I have read. Now, I already own most of these books in some form or other. Usually it is in a large collection, which sometimes I find can be a little bit awkward to hold and read, whereas individual books I find are much easier. I have been wondering if I made a mistake buying these collections. Not that I regret it, not that they're not beautiful, but because I am liking these small books as well. Doesn't matter. I'm very happy owning both versions. But beautiful, just beautiful. The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson. I have never read this. I don't even think I've seen the film. Or if I have, it was a very long time ago. So I'm looking forward to reading this because I can't remember it. Pride and Prejudice. This is the only one with silver, but I kind of like it, and it matches the cover, which is gorgeous like they all are. Emma, again by Jane Austen. Beautiful, yet again, but this one's gold. Don't know why. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. One of my favourites from that era, actually. And last is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is definitely a favourite book of mine. I have this in so many versions, but I think I've mentioned before, my hardcover copy fell apart because I read it so much. I think this one is going to last a lot longer. Okay, we're down to the last three, and these are all from the same publisher and the same editions, I guess. I have been buying collections by Barnes & Nobles. They are bonded leather, I think, which I find really, really heavy, to be honest. And they are nice, but these look more, I think, traditional, which is why I have fallen in love with them. I'm going to start with this. The Complete Sherlock Holmes, finally. When I catalogued my books and I looked at my Sherlock Holmes, I realised it wasn't complete, which really annoyed me. All these years I thought it was. I must have read the other books somewhere else. So I've been hunting for a complete Sherlock Holmes, and I really love this one. I love the spines in particular, and it's just beautiful. It doesn't have the gold edging, which I don't mind actually. In my experience, that usually comes off with use. It does have a ribbon. Now, I haven't read these yet, but they're stunning, and they look stunning on the bookshelves as well. The spines look great. So that's the first one. And I bought this, the complete H.P. Lovecraft. Again, I thought I had the complete one and I didn't, which is why I went hunting. And when I saw this, I thought, oh, I want this one. It's beautiful colour. I don't know if the camera will pick that up. It's a lovely green and it has this great artwork on it. There's also a hint of gold in some of the artwork. And that's the spine. Just beautiful, isn't it? And the back. To be honest, I have become more a fan of these rather than the Barnes & Noble's ones. And I should mention these are referred to as either the Knickerbocker Classics or Timeless Classics. Regardless, they're gorgeous. And the last book is this, the complete Grimm's Fairy Tales. Apparently I never owned this. I thought I did. It also has some colour illustrations, which is lovely. But it is stunning, this one. I love the cover. This is my favourite, I think, of the three. With a beautiful spine and beautiful back. Just gorgeous. I'm fairly certain these are not leather, and accordingly they didn't cost as much as the Barnes & Nobles, even though they're not full leather anyway. But I actually really like this edition. If they bring out any other books in this series, I think I'll collect them if it's something that I'm looking to read anyway. So that's it. That's all the classics that I bought in the last few months, which is a lot. Yeah. I did a count. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself on the screen, but my count is 47 classics. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, that really is. I'm including each individual book in the Narnia series as well. Let me know if your guess was close or not. I must admit, when you add it all up, it's like, wow, that's too many books. And these are just the classics that I bought. I haven't included all the other books I've bought, which have been predominantly second-hand books. So I'm going to have to do another haul video, but not just yet. Wow. I think I have most of the classics that I want now, though. Not all, but most of them. I'm still looking for a very nice illustrated Aesop's Fables hardcover. I don't know if there is one online. I think I want to see it in person before I decide to buy it. And I'm sure there will be others that I'll want to buy with time, because I always do. Anyway, let me know which ones of my new classics are your favourites. Let me know if you have bought any classics. You know, I always want to hear. And you can put it down in the comments, or you can contact me on Instagram. Thank you all so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, then you can do the usual. You can like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time. Bye. Very reasonable. Dr. Heckle and Mr. Giant. Oh dear, okay.